نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My talks have been sort of, I've had all the subjects kind of interspersed between them. So therefore, inshallah ta'ala, the majority of what I will talk about now is about the rights that women owe to their husbands in a family situation. So inshallah ta'ala, start with the same verse, because the same verse that has been the theme of the talk has been the following verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله والتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في مضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعناكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا. The translation of the verse, which is, men are the protectors and maintainers of women because Allah has made one of them to excel the other, and because they spend to support them from their means. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient to Allah and to their husbands, and guard in their husband's absence what Allah orders them to guard, meaning their chastity and their husband's property. As to those women on whose part you see ill conduct, admonish them first. Next, refuse to share their beds, and last, beat them lightly if it is useful. But if they obey you, seek not against them means of annoyance. Surely Allah is ever most high, most great. I want to read something to you, inshallah ta'ala, from a book that I hope that you own. And this is from the Structure of the Muslim Family. And the original Arabic text was written by Sheikh Muhammad al-Manjami, rahmatullah alayhi. In the footnotes that was done by our brother, Hassan Somali, hafidhahullah, it says, in Western culture, women are frequently being exploited by large corporations and businesses to earn an extra buck. It seems that they believe the more explicit and lewd they become, the more money they will earn. This has produced a generation of people who do not look at the woman as a mother or educator, but they see her as no more than a sex object who is to be utilized to entice some dull, dim-witted person into buying their product. Strangely enough, we don't hear any cries of oppression or mistreatment that leads us to say, remove the blank of wood from your eye and then investigate what is in mine. And I think that must be perhaps a British expression. This type of attitude has a great effect on the family structure and the society as a whole. It is totally expected for this to breed a volatile reaction. And this is expected whenas people turn away from laws of Allah. Read these clips of the following article. And the article's title is, They're Out at School and Tension is In. And this was from the Philadelphia Inquirer, February 8th, 2004. Philadelphia high schools are struggling with a new problem in student behavior. Rising tensions between heterosexual and openly lesbian girls. Nationwide, lesbians increasingly are declaring their sexual orientation and publicly displaying their affection for each other at younger ages. And Philadelphia appears to be in step with that trend. So that trend would include most major cities. Major cities, if your city is a city, it is not exempt from this. The phenomenon has led to embarrassing moments in some cases and physical clashes in others. Accusations of intimidation have surfaced on both sides. from lesbians who say they are being harassed, and from heterosexual girls who say they have been grabbed and bothered. At Simon Grat High School last month, a fight broke out in the cafeteria between a group of lesbians calling itself Lipstick and other girls. I believe the group here in Durham is called The Family. It's an old group. It's called The Family. According to police, in December, a student was beaten outside Kingston High School after they interfered with a relationship between two girls who were open and lesbian, police said. At Northwestern High School last spring, staff and students were taken aback when some girls were seen unabashedly touching each other, and so on and so forth. So I only said it to say that when you read about the verses like these that deal with admonishing a person's wife, they have full-scale wars going on between their daughters. And so they cannot speak about Islam. So I said that to show that this is something which is obvious, it's public, it's well known. That their women have been mistreated over many, many centuries. And there was one point when Christianity didn't even know what a woman was. Whether she was like a man, whether she had a soul, whether she didn't have a soul. If you look into their history, you find they had no idea what a woman was. And so they had to define it. So one point they thought the man owned her, so they did what? They gave her his last name. This was for ownership. He owned her. Not her father's name, but under her husband, he owns her, so she's Mrs. So-and-so. She's his chattel like a slave. You check it. You'll see this is their history. So therefore, in their actual clear history, the world had no idea about this being that they call the woman. So here, the Sheikh says, this verse that we just read, and its translation, وقد دلت الآية الكريمة على وجوب طاعة المرأة لزوجها في غير معصية الله من ثلاثة وجوه. So the Sheikh said that this verse shows that a woman is supposed to obey her husband in everything, and these three issues, in everything except what? Ma'asiyah. That she should not obey him if he asks her to sin or commands her to sin. Al-Wajh al-Awwal, in the first aspect, she is to obey him in. قال تعالى الرجال قوامون على النساء. That men are the protectors and maintainers of women. القوامة يقتضي السمع والطاعة وإلا لم يكن لها معنى. The Sheikh said, if it hadn't been for sam'a wa ta'a, I hear what you say and I comply, the qawama wouldn't have any meaning. That's what it means. He is the maintainer and he is the protector of women. So therefore he maintains how many things? We talked about it the other night. How many things does he maintain in the house? Two main things. What are they? He maintains the? Now, what does he maintain inside the shelter? He maintains the he maintains the Islam of the household. He maintains the Islam of the household because the deen is part of what? Deen rizq. Al-ilm al-deen rizq. He maintains all of the rizq. So he maintains the status, the state of condition of the religion inside the house with his wife and his children. And then he also maintains what? Naam. And then also he maintains on the other side the material maintenance. He maintains the religious maintenance. He maintains the material maintenance, which means he has to have an ilm. And he has to have how much ilm? We talked about that last night. How much ilm is he supposed to have to be a teacher in his household? That's okay, I mean. That which is necessary for mukallaf, the one who's responsible, that's necessary for the responsible person to do two things. For him to what? To worship Allah as he's supposed to worship him, and also to do deeds that are righteous. Those two. He has to have that which is necessary for every believer to have. And so therefore that should be also what his wife has. And as our brother pointed out, this morning our brother Shadid Habibullah pointed out that at times the wife will have more than the husband. And so that should, he brought up that under jealousy. I just want to add one thing. What about jealousy causes it? What is jealousy? Just on that emotion alone. Jealousy is something, why it happens between people. Jealousy, tamanna zawal ni'ma an ghayr. It is the desire to see a ni'mah that somebody else has taken from them. And there brings the feeling. Zawal al-ni'mah. So this ni'mah and you find it between two who have a shared issue. Anytime any two people share something, there may be between them hasad. So the wajh al-awwal, as-sam' wa ta'a. So sisters should hear what their husbands say in the what's righteous about in the deen of Islam, and they should comply with it. وجه الثاني قوله تعالى والصالحات القانتات. And so the righteous believing women والقانتات هنا مطيعات لله تعالى وأزواجهن. He said the obedient one here, it means the ones who are obedient to Allah and obedient to the husbands. That's a qanit. Qanitat. She's obedient to Allah, and then ثم she's obedient to her husband. أو أزواجهن. قال ابن كثير said رحمه الله تعالى قال ابن عباس وغير واحد معنى مطيعات لأزواجهن. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and others have said the tafsir of that qanit, obedient, means obedient to Allah. Or he said, then he just said يعني مطيعات لأزواجهن. They obey their husbands. وجه ثالث قوله تعالى والتي تخافون نشوزهن فعيذوهن واهجرهن في مضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعناكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا. And so if you fear from them disobedience, or ill conduct, admonish them first, next refuse to share their beds, and last beat them lightly. If it is useful, it's in parentheses. But if they obey you, seek not against them means of annoyance. Surely Allah is ever most high, most great. فهذا صريح في وجوب طاعة المرأة لزوجها. He said this is direct. This is the direct words that said that a wife is to obey her husband. تحريم نشوزها. And that is haram for her to show ill conduct. وتعاليها عليه بمخالفتها. And for her to rise above him by opposing him. And we spoke about this last night. About a woman rising above her husband in what issue? In the issue of the children. And how the children what? How they respect, how they see their father, or their uncle, or her older brother, or her grandfather, maternal uncle, or whether it's maternal uncle or whether it's a maternal uncle, how they see him. And then she is not to do what? She is not to belittle, try to seize the qawama from the husband. Not openly, and not through surreptitious means, means which are less obvious, like planning with the children to go against what the husband says and things like that. أعاذنا الله من ذلك. فإنها إذا قامت بواجبه في الطاعة فلا يجوز له أن يظلمها أو يبخس حقها. So he said that the Shaykh said that if she does what's wajib in ta'ah, it is not allowed for him to oppress her nor be stingy with her rights. ثم حذر من فعل ذلك بأن الله تعالى أعلى منه وأكبر. So he's not supposed to be stingy with her rights if she's obedient, and he's not supposed to oppress her. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned him by telling him huwa a'la, that he is higher than he is, wa akbar, and that he is the greatest and not the husband. وَهُوَ أَقْوَى عَلَيْهِ مِنْهُ عَلَيْهَا وَأَقْدَرُ, and that he is stronger upon that man than that man could ever be upon that woman, and has more ability with that man than that man could ever have over that woman. Shaykh said that's the tafsir. Why بدل ذلك ويدل كذلك على أن من حق الرجل على زوجه أن يطيعه بالمعروف, that she should obey him in the goodness, in good things. بالمعروف. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا صلت المرأة خمسها, if a woman prays her 5 salah, وصامت شهرها, and she fasts Ramadan, وحفظت فرجها, and she preserves her private parts, وأطاعت زوجها, and she obeys her husband, دخلت جنة, she goes to paradise. وفي رواية قيل لها ادخلي من أي أبواب الجنة شئت. Or another report says, it said to her, go into paradise through any door that you want. Said to the woman, this is what our brother said this morning. Hafidhahullah ta'ala. It is said to her, go into paradise through any door that you want. وحديث دل على وجوب تعمر لزوجها من وجهين. And this hadith shows or indicates to us that it's wajib for a woman to obey her husband. Because understand, ya ibadallah, قال الله تعالى وجعلنا بعضكم لبعض فتنة أتصبرون وكان ربك بصيرا. And we have made all of you a fitna for all of the other ones. وجعلنا بعضكم لبعض فتنة لنبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Why? So we can test which ones of your deeds are better. So in every group of people, every combination, every partnership, every association, there is fitna. There's ikhtabar. There's an imtihan to see whether a person will give this person their rights, whether they are younger or older, male or female, poor or rich, short or tall, black or white, young or old. Every instance is a fitna. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed it that way. He said, Atasbirun, are you going to show sabr? Yani, are you going to give the person their rights? No matter how the society sees them. Are you going to give them their rights? No matter how you may have felt about them before in Jahiliyyah. Are you going to do what's right or are you not going to do what's right? Atasbirun, wa kana rabbuka basira. And so the messengers were a test for those who they came to. And the people they came to were a test for the messengers. And so the ignorant are a test for the ulama. And the ulama are a test for the ignorant. And so on and so forth. And every group which opposes every other group, who is the opposite, there is a test. الرجل والمرأة والزوج والزوجة, and so on. So this hadith shows that the first aspect, أنه قرن طاعة الزوج بالصلوات الخمس المفروضة والصيام شهر رمضان وحفظ الفرج كلها من أوجب الواجبات. The Shaykh says that in the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ couples the obedience with the husband with the 5 obligatory salah, and he couples it with the fast of Ramadan, and he couples it with along with preserving the private parts. All of these are some of the most obligatory things in the religion of Islam. So in this hadith, it shows that obedience to the husband is at the level of the most obligatory things. It's at the level of the 5 salah. It's at the level of the fast of Ramadan. It is at the level of preserving the farj, obedience to the husband for a woman. Although everything around her says what? You ain't got to listen to him. Listen to him for. What you listening to him for? You gotta do what he say? You mean you gotta do what your husband say? You can't go to marriage unless he say? You couldn't obey your father after you got married to a man unless he says. We're gonna come to it in a minute. Even your dad, he takes precedence. Your husband takes place over your dad. And that's personal to me. I got 4 daughters. They get married in khalas. My word is zift. The Egyptians say zift. Zift kalam, mafish. Sifr. Have nothing more to say. Oh, she ain't coming over for dinner today? No. Why? Because her husband says so. Okay. I'll get with him later, inshallah. The second one. أنه قرن بين حق الله, and then the second one is أنه قرن بين حق الله تعالى وإقام الصلاة 5 وصيام شهر رمضان وحق الزوج بطاعة حفظ عرضه وجعل قيام الحقين معا شرطا لدخولها الجنة. And so therefore, in the second half of the hadith, another riwayah, it says that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ coupled the rights of Allah Ta'ala along with the establishment of the salah, the 5 salah, and the fast of Ramadan, and with the rights of the husband, and obeying him and protecting his honor, irde, وَجَعْلَ قِيَامْ بِحَقَّيْنِ مَعًا. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam put the two rights together as a condition for her to enter paradise. Protecting his money and what? His ird, his honor, his sharaf. I mean, she cannot go out and speak about him to diminish his honor. You know, do that. And go out and do that. He has to protect the money and his ird. And we know that, huh? A Muslim's blood, money, and the ird is what? These three things. So what are these things in the relationships between us? They are naam, sacred. Not open to any assault by anyone. Al-malu, al-dam, wal-mal, wal-ird. والذي نفسي بيده لا تؤدي المرأة حق ربها حتى تؤدي حق زوجها. And I swear by the one who has my life in his hands, the Messenger of Allah said that a woman does not perform the rights of her Lord until she gives her husband his rights. وَدَلَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى أَنَّ طَاعَتُهَا لِزَوْجِهَا حَقًّا وَاجِبْ عَلَيْهَا. And so it shows that her obedience to her husband is a right which is wajib, obligatory upon her. يدل على ذلك أيضا قوله لو أمرت أحدا أن يسجد لأحد لأمرت مرأة أن تسجد لزوجها. And so therefore it says that, and the Prophet ﷺ said that if I was to order someone to make sajda to someone else, if it was such a case, I would order a woman to make sajda to her husband. فإذا كان عليها أن تطيع فيما لا منفع فيه. And so the writer says, if it is so that she would obey him in something which is no benefit. And the rest of the hadith says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ الرَّجُلَ أَمَرَ امرأته أن تنقل من جبل أحمر إلى جبل أسود ومن جبل أسود إلى جبل أحمر لكان النوى لها أن تفعل. And if a man was to order his wife to go from a black mountain to a red mountain, and from a red mountain to a black mountain, it would be for her to do it. And there's no benefit here, the writer says. Where's the benefit? So if he was to order her to do something with no benefit, then what about the things which have benefit? فَكَيْفَ بِطَاعَتِهَا لَهُ فِي مَا فِي مَصْلَحَةٍ ظَاهِرَةٍ. Then what about her obeying him and those things which are have open benefit? فَمِنْ قِيَامِ أُمُورِ مَعَاشِهِ وَتَرْبِيَةِ أَوْلَادِهِ وَنَحْوَ ذَلِكَ. From the things that have to do with the benefit of their life together and their teaching the children and those things. What about the things which are beneficial? There can't be any kalam there. وبين عليه الصلاة والسلام أن طاعة المرأة لزوجها من أمارات صلاحها واغتطاط زوجها بها واغتياط زوجها بها. And so he said that the Prophet Muhammad said that her following him and obeying him is a sign of her goodness. Salahaha. ما استفاد المؤمن بعد تقوى الله تعالى خير له من امرأة صالحة. And there's nothing that benefits the believing man after having fear for Allah than a righteous woman. إن نظر إليها صرته. If he looks at her, he becomes happy. when أمرها أطاعته. And if he tells her to do something, she obeys him. when أقسم عليها أبرته. وإن غاب عنها حفظته في نفسها وماله. And so, and then when he's with her, she's good to him. And when he's away from her, she preserves herself and his wealth. He doesn't come back home and find his books shredded to pieces. He doesn't find his clothing damaged. She tells him, I damaged or something. Oh, it happened. I don't know how it happened. It just got damaged. He doesn't find his money clipped on to buy shoes unless he knew something about it. But sometimes, unfortunately, some sisters clip the husbands. He may give her something to do to pay the bill. And so she wants a pair of shoes. She doesn't talk about it. She just goes in and clips him. And so you have to also know the sound of the woman's footsteps. Some brothers say they know the sound of the woman's shoes. Clip, clap, clip, clap. Wait a minute. What you got on? Oh, that's some shoes. How long you had them? Well, let me see the bottom. They're new. How come we didn't talk about it? I just said, yeah, I guess. Not me, I'm talking about. Remember that some of us have been sitting in counseling sessions for long, long periods of time over years and have seen examples of things. So she doesn't, his wealth is safe with her. If your wealth can't be safe at home with your wife, who can it be safe with? If your honor is not safe at home with your wife, who can it? Sisters, if the husband, who inshallah is a good man and he takes care of what he's supposed to take care of, if his honor is not safe with you, who can it be safe with? The children's father, who can it be safe with? And if his wealth can't be safe with you, then who can it be safe with? طاعة الزوج مقدمة على طاعة الوالدين. The obedience of the husband comes before obedience to parents. And this may be a dilemma in some cases, especially when you have parents who for a long time were very much a part of their daughter's life. And I want to say here that we want to be careful also living in the United States of America, because this issue, and I don't think it's a big issue here, but in other cities, people sometimes want to marry girls when they're 14 years old and when they're 13 years old. And that's something that is not wise. It's not wise. And I'll give you the two reasons. I didn't say it wasn't Sharia. Said that if you have harm and benefit, if the harm is greater, you don't do the benefit. If the harm can lead to greater harm, you don't do it. And the cases where girls are married at very young, at 12 and 13 years old, and the husband wants to because he has these rights and wants to take the girl out of school, then you have laws. If she happens to be in public school, that makes her delinquent, then you have problems there. Then you have laws of such things called statutory rape, even if there is a marriage. So if a man marries a girl which is very, very young, the mother and father may be Muslim, but however, the grandmother may not be, or the grandfather may not be. And they may report that their young daughter got married at 13 years old, or the young granddaughter got married, or the young daughter, or they put it like this, that she's living with a man at 13 years old. Taalib, and so therefore it's still considered a child. One more thing, I ask Allah's protection, but I must explain it to you, that custody of children doesn't belong to parents unless there is a beef. Only if there's a beef does a parent get custody. When a child is born in the United States, custody belongs to the state. And that's why you have to go to the state if you have a divorce to get the custody. Because child born in the hospital is not, you don't have custody. You have what's known as guardianship, which is not the same thing. So before we go out and do things, we have to know things about the place in which we live in so that we can take appropriate steps that have hikmah and take appropriate steps. Barakallahu feekum. طاعة الزوج مقدمة على طاعة الوالدين مع عدم حقهما. So the right of the husband supersedes the obedience to the right of the parents, even though they have great rights with their daughter. وسابق فضلهما. And they had this preference before he did. بل كانت طاعة بل كل طاعة كانت لوالدين. Before she married, all her obedience was due to who? Her parents. فقد انتقلت إلى الزوج. All of this has then been taken up has been given to the husband. All of the preference that the parents had before the marriage, now the husband holds that preference. Look at the honorable position that the man gets in Islam. The husband gets. Even the rights over mothers and fathers, he now has them. إذا أمرها ولدها أو أحدهما بشيء يخالف أمر زوجها كانت طاعة الزوج مقدمة على طاعة الوالدين. And if one of the parents, if the father or one of the parents orders her to do something which opposes what the husband wants, that her obedience is to her husband, it supersedes obedience to her parents. ولا حرج عليها في معصيتهما. And there is no harm upon her in not listening to what they said in opposition to what he has said. لأن ليس في حقهما أن يأمراها بشيء يتعارض مع ما يريده الزوج ويأمر به. It is no longer their right to order their daughter to do something that will oppose what the husband wants and what he in fact has ordered. They don't have the right to oppose him like that. قال الشيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله تعالى قول الله تعالى فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتُ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَهُ اللَّهُ. And the obedient righteous women who preserve in the unseen what Allah preserves. يَقْتَضِي وُجُوبَ طَاعَتِهَا لِزَوْجِهَا مُطْلَقًا. He said this means that her obedience is to her husband absolutely, مطلقة, absolutely. Min khidma, serving him. سَفْرَ مَعْهُ, traveling with him. تَمْكِينٌ لَهُ غير ذلك. وكما دالت عليه السنة ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث الجبل الأحمر وفي السجود وغير ذلك. And just as the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said in hadith about the red mountain and about making sujood, and other than that, كما تجب طاعة لأبوين, and like it used to be, as it was obligatory to be obedient to her parents. فإن كل طاعة كانت لوالدين انتقلت إلى الزوج. Every bit of obedience that used to be that she obeyed her father, or her mother and father, it now goes to the husband. وَلَمْ يَبْقَى لِأَبَوَيْنِ عَلَيْهَا طَاعَةً. And nothing is left of her obedience to her parents after she marries her husband. He controls and has it all. تِلْكَ وَجَبَتْ لِأَرْحَامٍ وَهَذَا وَجَبَتْ لِلْعُهُودِ. He said the first one was the wajib upon the shares of the womb. This one is wajib in the contract. This is now contractual. Now it supersedes the arham. Supersedes it. The contract now supersedes. وسئل رحمه الله تعالى عن امرأة تزوجت وخرجت في عن حكم والديها وأيهما أفضل برها لوالديها أو مطوعة لزوجها. And so he was asked about a woman who went out away from the rule of her parents. He said, which one is better? Her goodness to her parents or obeying her husband? This Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala was asked. Ajaba, and he answered, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. المرأة إذا تزوجت كان زوجها أملك بها من أبويها وطاعة زوجها عليها أوجب. He said that a woman marries her husband, amlaka, he has control over her, more control over her than her parents do. وطاعة زوجها عليها أوجب. And so then her obedience to her husband, that is more obligatory than her obedience to her parents. You know, parents would like to advise. Parents would like to advise. They'll say, well, I know he wants you to do this, but don't do that. You know, we didn't use 2% milk. We used whole milk. We didn't like mayonnaise. We used to use wheat. We used to eat wheat bread. Now you eat white bread. What's wrong with you? My husband likes white bread. Seriously, little stuff. You'd be surprised. Little stuff. You raised it one way, you come in the house. What's he buying that for? Because that's his money and he has the right to buy that. This is his house. Okay. It's not good for you. This is what he wants. That's what he wants. ما فيش كلام. كلامه ما فيش. ثم أورد النصوص كثيرة من كتاب وسنة تدل على عدم حق الزوج. That then Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he gave many evidences from the book and from the sunnah that shows the great right of the husband. ووجوب طاعته فيما لا إثم فيه, and showed the obligatory nature of her obeying him in what? In things in which there is no sin. See, we can't argue about different ideation. Sometimes we get into a debate about whose idea was better. The question is it sin? That's the question. Not whose idea was better. I'm smart. Smarter than your husband, more than he is. No. There's a standard that which we're all responsible to follow. Just as the father had his wife, and her father had his wife, and her father could not come into his affair, he also has to be the same. Just what he expected from her, he has to also expect. With respect. Because what was he initially? The father was who? Waliyuha. He was in a position to control it up to a point, to see it to a point, to examine to a point, to question to a point. So then he made the deal. Ijab wa qabul. He offered her, the man took her. So before you offer, what must you do? Ya Aba, You must know who you're offering your daughter to. If you have daughters, you must know. And your son must know too who he's marrying. And he must know. وقال زيد بن ثابت الزوج سيد في كتاب الله. He said that the husband is the master in the book of Allah. وقرأ قوله تعالى وألفيا سيدها لدى الباب. And they met سيدها لدى الباب. And I think it was Yusuf alayhi salatu salam and the Zoj of the Medic, Medican. Aziz, I think his name is Aziz, Malik Aziz. When he ran to the door, it said they met who? Sayyidaha. They met her master at the door. Who was her master? Her husband. Met the master. He used to call it in Old English. It said the master of the house is not him. You ever heard that before? You heard it. You never used to hear it. You used to hear it. Master. And in fact, Mr. is what? Mr. is a corruption of the word master. Master James, Master William. It's master. Master of the house. Rabbul Bayt. وقال عمر بن الخطاب نكاح رق فانظر أحدكم عندما يرقق كريمته. That the marriage is riqqa. It is like what? It's like slavery. So when you look to who he is placing that woman is a slave to. Riq. And alhamdulillah, and because we hear words like this, and the Western world may hear the words, but their associations are wrong. Because what we read the other night from the ulama, they said, man, it's not supposed to come in and rough up the house. The same Imam Khattab said what? He should be like what in the house? Like a kid. His way is not, to be unfair, unjust, to make everybody uncomfortable. His way is, he's all right in his home. This is his home. Everybody lives here. People should be allowed to live. It's living. So people they live better when they're happy. They live better when they're at ease. They live better when they're not nervous. They live better when they're able to, when they understand the order of the house. They understand the nizam of the house, the structure. We didn't talk about it last night, but they understand the home structure. And that's something, unfortunately, when we do this street background thing, the street had no structure. We even stopping for the red lights. We jaywalked, ran across the lights, bump and run, beep the horn, turn on the red light in places where you ain't supposed to, run over the red light, speed down the street. Even the street lost its what? It lost its nizam, mafi nizam. Here we have nizam because why you have what? You have dabat al-murur, in Arabic he's called. He's called the officer of the traffic. Yudabbitu. He keeps it ordered. But some people were trained to hate order. Hate it. The gangs have no order. Their order is disorder. Their order is chaos. Criminals don't have order. What they feed off of chaos. They cause chaos, like the lions making the bulls run so they can find the weak bull and they're predators. So they always keep chaos going so they can attack and drag something down. There's no order there. So we can't operate like that. And so we can't listen to those who hate to have structure. There's no structure. No, in Islam there's what? There is structure. Not for us to become bored with the structure. What is boredom? Not for the sister to become bored with the structure. The structure leads us where? Ila Jannah. Ila Rida Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa ila Jannah. What is boredom? Boredom is what? What is boredom? How do we define it? Ibn Qaddam rahimahullah ta'ala defined it. He said malal. Malal is what? Malal adam as-sabr. Boredom is the absence of patience. Boredom is the absence of control. And so therefore the one who's bored, Ayn al-Khabab, yani he's looking for disappointment because he's not doing what he's supposed to do, so he won't be bored. If he would do what he's supposed to do, he wouldn't be bored. But since he's trying to avoid what he's supposed to do, then he becomes bored. He becomes, I got nothing to do. No, I'm bored. You're bored? What are you supposed to do? Do what you're supposed to do. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're not bored, you're working. But of course, there's a trick of shaitan. What nafs? Even doing what I'm supposed to do, I find that boring too. But you're working toward a future goal. So work toward your goal. In the case of husbands and wives, the goal is to keep an ordered house, to what? To have a family. So family will raise children. So they will have believers. So the children will do what? Then they will go on to be, alhamdulillah, service to their mothers and fathers. The mothers and fathers are placing, you are, by holding the standard of Islam, you are raising your child to serve you and the society. And not holding that standard, you're raising that child to be an enemy to you and an enemy to the society. Because most children are enemies to their mothers and fathers first, then they go on to become enemies of the society. Step one, step two. Allah al-Musta'an. So it's the قال وفي الترمذي وغيره عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال استوصوا بنساء خيرا فإنهن عندكم عوان. Be nice to them because they are to you as servants. فالمرأة عند زوجها تشبه الرقيق وأسير. Said the woman to the man has a similarity to what? One who has been captured, or like somebody who's a captive. فليس لها أن تخرج من منزله سواء أمرها أبوها أو أمها أو غير أبويها باتفاق الأئمة. Said that a woman is similar to being caught, to being a captive of the husband, so it's not for her to leave her house, whether her father tells her to, her mother tells her to, or both her parents tell her to together. And all the imams agree to this. Not to do except what he says. And right now, every inch of the society is what they're fighting against, this order of the family. This is not new. It is not particular to Islam either. It was the religions before Islam recognized the man as being the head of the household. And now they want to fight against the order because they want to initiate the woman as the wali. Woman, yeah, wali. No? No. Woman as wali. And some of us, we submit to woman as wali. Because a maqam of the rajul is changing. Maqamahu. Yakhaf, yani shwayya. Yakhaf. He's afraid of his actual maqam. The stand he's supposed to take. Sometimes he's afraid of the stance. He has Islam to back him up. Barakallahu feekum. He has Islam to back him up. Alhamdulillah. But sometimes yakhaf min maqam. Why? Sometimes socialization. To be afraid. Socialization to be afraid. Afraid to be calm because calm is viewed as cowardly. By whose rules? Like our brother said this morning. By whose? What did Shaitan get the idea that from himself? What did he say? Fire was better than mud. Kif. So why is calm and collected afraid to work hard? Some people are afraid to work hard. It happened when they were small and in school. Since nobody encouraged them, somebody was always calling them away from working. Don't work, let's go play. Player? Even call everybody a player. A football player, basketball player, hockey player, play on women, player. He playing. He'll play the game. He's playing. Hey, player. La. Rajul ghair. Not a player. Not somebody to play with either. Not a player and not to be played with. Nobody. Say, barakallahu feekum. Not to be played with. I'm saying disrespected. And to not be disrespected, you don't have to blow up. You're on the floor. You know, flexing. I'm in the house. I'm in the house. Oh, you are? Spell abode. Oh, wait. This is their house. Which there did I mean? Spell it. Oh, I wasn't there. I wasn't in class for that one. That was 4th grade. Where was you in the 4th grade? That was 4th grade. How come you don't know the difference between there and there? How come you don't know the difference? Because your awareness of reading and writing and communication, you let all that go. You didn't care about that. And what did you do instead? Because later on it becomes a factor. Muslims write. And I've always written letters. Khattab wrote letters to the awliya. He wrote to them. The people didn't want these. He wrote them. They wrote back. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote letters. People wrote him. We wrote. See, all the skills. They're trying to cut back on men's skills. So they can't be a skilled man. And therefore can't sometimes be a skilled father. Can't be a skilled parent. Can't be a skilled husband. Do not let people cut the skills. Go back and get those basic skills. The basic Arabic skills. The English skills. You speak English, you should know English. To communicate is a skill. Skilled man. A man's supposed to have a skill. He's supposed to be skilled. That's why his head won't fit in the kufi. Not my head won't fit in the kufi, not your head. I'm the one that has a hard time shopping. But what it contains, it contains what? It contains this organ, along with this organ, and together they work into man. It's cheating the man out of his skills. So they'll take a back seat. This mainstream that people are so proud of, Islamic society, Islamic civilization built this mainstream. It's from the legacy of Islam that this mainstream came from, where this chemistry came from, where this asphalt came from. The names come from Arabic. Somebody said, is it syrup or syrup? I think we were playing this morning. Is it syrup or syrup? It's neither. It's sharab. It came from the Arabic word sharab, because the Arabic doctors, because the Muslim doctors in Spain, they used to use sharab, soup and syrup as medicine. The syrup. To drink. The cough syrup. It came from the Arabic word sharab. Syrup. That's where it came from. We were speaking with the doctors. What's that thing called? The forceps to grab a fetus. The forceps was invented by the Muslims in Spain to grab a dead fetus from a mother. Not to strain her. Not to grab a live fetus and cut its face all to pieces. It is study ibadallah. It's understanding your history ibadallah. Understanding the legacy ibadallah, so you stand strong and have honor. And come forward and not worry. Worry about the sin. Don't worry about development. I ain't functioning today. I ain't functioning. How can it be a man saying he ain't functioning? What kind of talk is that talk? You functioning. If you wasn't functioning, it'd be four takbirat. وماشي إلى مقبرة خلاص, to the cemetery. When you ain't functioning no more, you dead. And don't waste your time, because your life is your time. And your time is connected to your life. Sisters, your time is connected to your life. Because when your time is up, your life is over. Time and life go together. Don't waste your time. Don't worry about the trends. Trying to be cute. I'm thinking people here, but you know people, that being cute is more important than being Muslim. There ain't no cute. What cute? There's a building. We have things to do. A lot of things to build, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, for the children. Everybody's not going to be able to leave. Everyone's not going to be able to leave. So what are you going to do? We need qualified men. Qualified men. I just need a soapbox. We need qualified men. Qualified men, barakallahu fi. But actually, I'm just kind of joking around, but that's not a joke. Qualified, certified. And even now, if you're 50 years old, recertify. And even now, go back. And even now, stand in the classroom. And even now, teach. And even now, be a builder. Never stop until you die. Don't stop. And sisters, inshallah, when we do that, we need your commitment. You're not going to go Oprah on us. That you're going to stand behind us where you're supposed to stand. And you're going to support us and help us raise our children. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك